Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landing grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class. If you've not been watching my videos, I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. There we go. Good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I hate doing that to you. Everything's been going against me. This is Moving Home with Charlie. I'm Charlie Lambden. Welcome to another live stream. And tonight we are talking about something which is, I think, the single biggest step to fixing the broken housing market and to ending bad estate agency in such a way that it benefits buyers and sellers alike. So this video is also going out simultaneously on the Best Agent YouTube channel, which is for agents, because this needs to be a combined effort between movers who are fed up with bad estate agency and good agents who are also fed up with bad estate agency. And let me begin by defining, for the purposes of this video, what I mean by bad estate agency. Very simply, so that we can keep it to a level that nobody can disagree with, right? Bad estate agency is a failure to sell your home. When you're a seller and you need and want to sell and your agent fails to sell. And as a buyer, bad estate agency is when there's nothing for you to buy because it's all overpriced to the extent where you think, well, there's no point going to view that because there's no way I'm paying that much money for that house. And therefore, a market can't even begin to be created for those properties. There are actually also reasons for, if good agents already know that bad agency is bad for the whole market, deal times, the reputation of the industry and everything else. But there are additional reasons why bad estate agents get away with a lot more and a lot worse than just overvaluing. And the simple thing that allows them to get away with it is the pair of handcuffs that they put on you as a seller when you sign their contract. All right? It's called a sole agency contract. And if it's longer than, in my opinion, 8 weeks, some would say 12 is okay. I think that's a bit too long. If it's longer than 8 weeks, you shouldn't sign it. And if you're a buyer watching this thinking, why am I watching this? It doesn't affect me. It does affect you. It is directly affecting your ability to find a new home. It's directly causing all of the overpricing that you're seeing, because without their selling customers handcuffed to their bad estate agency, those estate agents would not be able to overvalue and overprice the homes. Why? Because take Foxtons, for example. Foxtons makes the sellers sign 16 weeks, well, I think from memory, then a 4-week rolling notice period after that. So 20 weeks, right? Between 4 and 5 months that a seller is stuck. Now, my problem with this is that that term in the contract only benefits the agent and acutely disadvantages the seller, because any agent who's not guilty of bad estate agency and is pretty good at their job and knows what they're doing will have offers for you on your house, or certainly viewings at least, within 6 weeks, right? And actually, typically it's within the first 2 to 3 weeks, you'll get a decent number of viewings. And if you don't get a decent number of viewings in the first 2 to 3 weeks, by the way, decent number is 12 or more, then you've already got off to a bad start with an agent. Now, if you've gone with an agent that you really liked and that happens to you and the price is a bit too high, well, the reasons for those prices being too high, your asking price being too high and therefore not getting any interest in your property, can be a combination of one and or the other of these two things. Number one, which is estate agents overvaluing to win your business. And number two is sellers just having ridiculous ideas of what they think their house is worth. Both problems exist. Sometimes one problem feeds off the other, where an overvaluing agent will actually piggyback a seller's wild expectations and go, yes, no problem. We can get that price for you. Just sign here and I'll slap those 16-week handcuffs on you. And after 2 months, when we haven't sold your house and you're getting frustrated, you're going to be stuck with this for another 2 or 3 months before you can change agent. So overvaluing by agents and unrealistic expectations by sellers and then the endless media guff pumping up the housing market prices, like the BBC today putting out a story going, mortgage experts predict a booming mortgage market this year. Right. The people who are responsible for selling something predicting a booming market isn't news. It is vested interest, biased opinion to create FOMO and make sellers think, oh, well, if there's going to be a booming market this year, we better get in quickly and buy before it gets away and runs away from us. Okay. That also, and Rightmove and Halifax and Nationwide and the ONS, all of them pumping up price expectations with an average that misleads the truth of what's happening. All of these things lead to overpricing. However, those handcuffs, right, and that is exactly how you should think of an estate agency contract. A pair of handcuffs. How long are they going to be on? Now, the reason I say 6 weeks with a 2-week notice period is because there's so much to go through here. There are an awful lot of time-wasting sellers. I've just been talking to Carringtons today, the agents I work with in Kingston, going through the number of sellers they've just turned away because they've got their head in the clouds. And are not being realistic and not prepared to be realistic and are not prepared to accept that the market decides what a property is worth. And so they've Carrington's gone, thanks very much, but no. And agents need protection against sellers like that, because estate agents are taking on a house and taking on a lot of cost and time and work for zero money if that house doesn't get sold. Now, this happens for various reasons. However, if after 6 weeks as a seller, your house hasn't sold, you're going to want the option to change agents, right? I mean, is there a seller watching this, or a buyer imagining when they come to sell their first home, watching this, who doesn't think that the ability to change estate agents when you realize the one you've chosen has let you down is a good thing? Okay? There is no reasonable explanation for why any seller should sign a sole agency contract for more than 6 or 8 weeks. Because if an agent was complaining, well, hang on a second, I need longer than that, say, fine. As a seller, if it takes you longer than 6 weeks, I don't mind, as long as I'm happy that you're actually trying. But the problem is what happens with a lot of agents when they realize a property is too difficult to sell because the price is too high and the seller won't drop their price, they just give up on it. They literally just don't bother. And they will ring you as a seller every week or two and say, yeah, well, I mean, our feedback is you should lower the price. And of course, you're very cross about that as a seller because they told you that they could get you more, right? So when that reality dawns, having the power to change agent is leverage to get that agent to pull up their socks, right? And moreover, if we spread the word, and buyers need to do this as well with everyone that you know, and agents that you talk to, and agents need to do this. So every seller that you meet, you should be saying to the seller, whoever you decide to use in the end, whatever you do, just don't agree to more than 6 or 8 weeks. And there are agents who say to me, but Charlie, sometimes it's not long enough and we've had to take the property on at a price we're not happy with. And like, A reasonable seller is going to accept that and not change agents with you unless they've lost faith in you. But do you really want to tie a customer, handcuff a customer to your business if they've lost faith in you? Well, if you're Foxtons, obviously yes. If you're Dexter's, obviously yes. Connells, obviously yes. These guys will happily slap handcuffs on you for 4, 5, or 6 months. Think nothing of it. They don't care. You are just a number. And the longer you're on their books, the more inquiries you're generating for them to sell mortgages to and sell conveyancing to, the bigger their inventory looks, the bigger their market share is, even if they don't sell your house. They've got ways of making it worth their while to list your house. And you need desperately to avoid those agents if you are a seller. Now, there is a way, and it's what I've been working on for a long time, to help, first of all, to help agents separate themselves from the overvaluing long contract agents and say, hey, I'm an agent that won't tie you in for more than 6 weeks. And that point on its own is a reason to give an agent the time of day and listen to what they're saying. Because what they're saying is, if you're not happy with us after 6 weeks, you should be free to go. Okay? And at the moment, the public has no way of choosing agents based on this metric. And the number one comment I get from sellers around the country is, listen, Charlie, we've watched your videos about choosing an agent and we're taking it all on board, but it's really, really difficult. We've met 7, 8, 9 agents and we just don't have faith in any of them. Well, that's because most agents don't have a strategy. They do just want to sign you into a contract, stick you on a high price, and hope that you'll stay with them before you drop the price too far and go to another agent. So there are several reasons why this works, by the way. If we create awareness among sellers everywhere that whatever else they do or don't do, whatever they price their property at, whichever agent they choose, and for whatever reason, do not sign. I mean, 12 weeks is like the absolute maximum I would be willing to agree to with an agent. If an agent said, look, this property is particularly difficult to sell, it's very unusual, there won't be that many buyers for it, we need a bit longer. And then as a seller, I would say, look, that's fine. As long as I'm happy that you're trying, I'm not going to leave you after 6 weeks, but I still don't want to sign more than 6 weeks in case you're crap. And in case you have overvalued my property intentionally or unintentionally. If I find out that you're a really nice person, but just not a very good agent, I don't want to be stuck with you. And when you get to the point of talking to an agent and say, look, I like you, but I'm not signing 12 weeks or more, almost all of them will come down and go, that's fine. Look, 6 weeks is reasonable. We think you're being realistic. Therefore, we can sell your house. Therefore, we're happy to accept 6 weeks with 2 weeks rolling notice. Okay. Now, the number one benefit, there are two, in fact, there are two immediate benefits to the whole market for buyers as well as sellers. Okay. I really want buyers to pay attention to this, because buyers are far more numerous on my channel than sellers, and there are more of you to help spread the word. If sellers decide to stop signing long solidity contracts, two things will happen. Overvaluing will reduce. It will still happen, but it won't happen nearly so much or so badly. Okay? Because without Foxtons getting you into a 16-week contract, they don't have enough time to get you down from the ridiculous overvaluation they gave you to begin with, down to a price that you can sell. They need that 16 weeks because they overvalue so badly, so much, that they're going to need all 4 of those months to gradually talk you down to a price where they might be able to sell your house for you. If they don't have 16 weeks, and if we can collectively force these agents to reduce the length of their sole agency contract, they will not be able to overvalue as much. So that's the first benefit. Overpricing will begin to ease. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean homes are going to sell for less. And I know that sellers think, if I put it on a lower price, that means I'm going to get a lower price. No, because the market pays what it wants to pay. Whatever your asking price is, the market pays what it wants to pay. The market will always pay the same price, provided you actually bring the market and get the market to your house. In other words, get enough people through the front door to view it within the first few weeks. So benefit number one of ending sole estate agency contract, long sole agency contracts of more than 8 weeks, is that overpricing will reduce. Benefit number two is also that all of the properties that are locked up currently in these handcuffs with bad agents will suddenly be released back into the market and improve choice for buyers, improve liquidity in the market, and transaction volumes will increase by, and I asked Stiggy to crunch some numbers on this for me, at least 10%, which would be another 120,000 transactions a year just by reducing overvaluing, all right? Now, do we have any questions on this topic before I keep going? Yeah, Tim Treefrog says, this is where I am as a buyer. I see things I like. They're 10 to 15% out of my price range, and I can see the price per square foot is higher than what sold in the area recently. Yeah, and so you don't bother going, do you? Don't bother going to view those properties. Yeah. Lee McCauley says, what I find strange is that home sellers are asking the same price as a new build. Yeah, that's like someone selling a second-hand car, trying to sell it for the same price as a brand new version of that car. Doesn't make sense, and you're not going to get it. Andiator 55 says, I watched the mini documentary made a few years ago with the undercover filming where, that's right, there were 11 agents that gave valuations. That was awesome. I ended up signing with the same firm, no minimum term, and it was a winner. Fantastic. So you managed to negotiate, so there was no contract. Excellent. Well done. Now, this is not just going to be me and this channel and you guys doing this, right? I am building up to a sustained campaign with estate agents and through estate agents. And if you're an estate agent watching this and you support this move to end long sole agency contracts, make sure that you have signed up with Best Agent. It's free to sign up. There's no contract or obligation. Make sure you've signed up, because every day now we've got sellers on Best Agent trying to find agents and not enough agents are responding. Okay. So if you're an agent watching this and you haven't already set up your account with Best Agent, your back office account, go to bestagent.co.uk and click on where it says agents. And if you activate your back office account so that when the seller leads come in your area, they're coming to the right email address that you want, the right mobile number that you want, right? It's free to receive those leads. It's free to respond to those leads. You only pay as an agent if a seller instructs you. A seller who's come through Best Agent instructs you, only then are you charged. Up to that point, it's free. Free to meet them, pitch them, do the valuation, market appraisals, whatever you want to call it. It's not a valuation. And so I'll be building a campaign with agents, and we are going to be releasing something called the Best Agent Badge. And agents are going to be asked to agree to 2 terms, at least 2 terms, but the 2 key ones, only one of which I'm going to mention now, which is you need to confirm that you're willing, for the leads that you get on Best Agent, you are willing to limit the length of your sole agency contract to 6 weeks with 2 weeks rolling notice after that. Now, if you don't put that term in when you register with Best Agent, you will still receive seller leads, but you won't have the badge that says this agent's got a Best Agent badge. And badged agents, and there's no charge for this, right? We are not trying to make money from this. We want to make money from introducing sellers to agents. We're not trying to make money from this badge. The idea of this badge is to allow agents who don't use long sole agency contracts to be easier to find. All right. There are going to be a couple of requirements. Neither of them cost you any money. One of them is agreeing that any sellers that come to you with Best Agent will not have to sign longer than 6 weeks sole agency with 2 weeks rolling notice. And so the reason we want to get lots and lots of agents the agents who support this concept to do that is because I am also building up to what will be quite a major and sustained consumer PR campaign through newspapers, broadcast, TV, radio, you name it, everything, to end long sole agency contracts. Because no other single measure will have a bigger impact on the function of the housing market than that. I mean, I know you hear all this endless guff about all these kind of things, digital this and mandatory agency qualifications, VAT, and these are all years away. You, as sellers, have the power tomorrow to say, we no longer accept sole agency contracts of more than 6 weeks. And if you sellers collectively decide tomorrow to end that, you won't sign contracts longer than that, guess what will happen? Those agents will be forced to stop handcuffing their sellers in for 4, 5, or 6 months. All right, so this is, I'm gathering momentum. I'm going to be doing a lot directly with agents behind closed doors with agents to start getting this ready so that more and more sellers, as this tough buyer's market, so it's a tough market for sellers, continues to get tougher this year, more and more sellers will be able to find the decent agents that are not going to wildly overvalue your house and not going to handcuff you into their business for more than 6 weeks. Okay. Now, Fernando Pastana says, would you say that ideally don't buy a property in London, rent a room in London, or if you work in London, and just invest in the stock market? If you're single, haven't got a family, got some flexibility, and you know what you're doing with investment, yes, I would agree with that. Just rent and invest. Change 2023 Now says, I'm seeing so many sellers on the market, over half of them, who aren't serious about selling. They're happy to have their property sit for 6 to 18 months with 1 or 2 small price drops. What do you call these types? Well, sometimes those sellers are sellers who've got wild, silly expectations on price. They don't think they're being silly, by the way, right? There are sellers out there who think that the way it works is you decide your price and you find an agent who believes in your house, and that will just magically produce a dim-witted buyer who's willing to pay well above market price for your house. So there are sellers who cause this problem, but what you're describing, exactly what you're describing here, is one of the consequences, one of the symptoms of people being stuck in 6-month sole agency contracts. East Anglian asks, will estate agents negotiate the sole agency duration if I haggle? Yes, always. If they believe you are a serious seller and you're not a time-wasting seller, they will always reduce that. I've never heard of an agent refusing to do it. Now, some junior valuer from Connells might not have he may or may not have the permission to do it. There might be policy and he can't do it. But typically speaking, they want your listing on their books more than anything else. And if they have to drop the sole agency period to get it, then they usually will. And by the way, this is how it goes. If you're a seller and you're sitting down with an agent and you say, look, I watched this idiot on YouTube called Charlie, and he said, never sign longer than 6 weeks. The agent will go, oh, well, there's all these reasons why he's wrong, and he's just an idiot on the internet, and you should ignore him, and you should just sign, and sorry, our policy is this, and don't worry, we're going to get you this great price. And you should just quietly go, no, I think he's right. I don't want to be handcuffed to an agent who's let me down for longer than 6 weeks. If you don't let me down, it's no problem, right? Even if it takes longer than 6 weeks, if I think you're doing a good job, I'm going to stay with you. But if you're not doing a good enough job for me, after 6 weeks, I want the freedom to leave. And if you can't agree to that, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, out you get. Out, get out of my house. You can negotiate. By the way, you can negotiate anything. Violetta Cosiano says, as a buyer, I just met an agent that seems extremely professional and realistic. Should I make them aware of your campaign, or is it premature? Yes, absolutely do. Please make them aware of my campaign. Just point them at bestagent.co.uk and ask them to click on the agents thing and follow Best Agent social media and this channel if they want. Paul Spark says, lack of the vendor's acceptable sale price from estate agents makes haggling worse than a day out at a Casablanca souk. Change 2023 now says, Charlie, just some constructive feedback here. I would love to use and support the Best Agent site, but almost all the properties are old links or broken. Fudge nuggets, yes. I am aware. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for all of you who've been trying. We have, millions. There are millions of property records on there. I have been bootstrapping Best Agent up to this point, and I'm right in the middle of preparing for a angel round of investment for Best Agent so that I can increase my software development team and fix these problems. You're right. Thank you. There are also live up-to-date properties there. The ones that are out of date is frustrating. We are working on that, and the deletion will happen. But yes, for all of you who've been trying the site. Now, lots of you are trying the site on the seller's side for Find Your Agent. Now that's working. We have no control over which agents respond. But what I'm about to do is, why is people saying, has Charlie gone to the pub? Can you not see me or hear me? I am still here. Sue Bennison saying, Earth to Charlie. What do you want, Sue? Have I gone to the pub? No. I had supper in the pub before I came here. That's not why I was late, though. Just looking for other comments on this particular topic. So if you are a seller, whatever method you're using to, and by the way, if you're a seller, please give me your questions. I'm here for sellers. This is a live seller Q&A, right? And in the link below, by the way, there are links to videos on this topic. So please, if you're a seller and you want to know about the market and how to make sure you get a good agent, ask me your questions now. Okay. Oh, I froze. Okay, I'm glad I'm back. How long did I freeze for? Hi, Jean-Marc. This is a comment I've had a couple of times today. You are very patronizing, Charlie. But I've learned a huge amount from you, so thank you. Well, you're welcome. I don't really know how else to communicate my 30 years worth of experience to you. I don't mean to be patronizing. I know my stuff. And I get very frustrated with all of the repeated, endless, every single day, absolutely wrong myths and beliefs and brainwashed zombies on house prices and how to sell them. And people saying things like, oh God, selling houses is really easy. Agents have an easy job. They make money really easily. I mean, you have to be an absolute numpty to think that, okay? Just bear with me here, okay? I would say that there is no harsher critic of estate agents publicly than me. I reckon I'm the most harsh critic of agents there is. But I'm also the biggest defender of what agents do, how important it is, and how difficult it is. And I've been working with estate agents for 25 years, and I've been in the property market for 30 years. Started out as a landlord. And I can tell you that whilst a lot of agents make unforgivable, stupid mistakes a lot of the time, it is an unimaginably difficult job to deal with emotional, irrational members of the public on both sides of a transaction on a daily basis. You have no idea. None of you have any idea. I have turned down multiple six-figure salaries from agents who want me to go and help run their businesses. No, I could never do that job. Having worked with a number of agents that I've worked with around the country, having seen what they have to put up with some of the public on a daily basis, those ones deserve medals. And not taking away any of the criticism that I've made about agents that do bad things, so many members of the moving public are even worse with how they behave. I mean, you have to see it to believe it. The things they say, the things they do, the way they treat estate agents, who are people. They're sons and daughters and mothers and fathers, and they're people making a living, right? I'm not defending the shysters the charlatans, the ones that are out to get you. But there is this massive misconception that a estate agency is easy and they're all making easy money, right? If it was easy, I challenge any one of you that thinks that to just, hey, go and sell your house with that one. Let me know how you get on, because it's easy, right? Go and sell your house with that one. Let me know how you get on. Right. Sue says, I don't think you're patronizing. Thank you, Sue. I want to be forthright. I want to be compelling. I want to make sure my point gets across. And I know that, by the way, my whole life I've been told that by some people that I'm patronizing. I don't really understand. That makes it sound like I'm setting out to try and offend people with my confidence in my topic, but it's not the case. I just want to get my point over. Yes, change now. I'm well aware of user experience, which is why I don't promote Best Agent yet. You'll notice I don't talk it up very much at all. And once those glitches are fixed, you'll notice, because I'll start to be talking it up a bit more. Oh, thank you, guys. Scarlett says you're not patronizing at all, and Timo says you're not patronizing in the slightest. I've met far more pathetic, snotty, arrogant, and patronizing estate agents. There we are. So whoever it was that called me patronizing, you appear to be in the minority. But I don't want to patronize anybody. But I do know my stuff. I really do. Paul Spark says, Charlie, invite on Property Accelerator channel and debate a few points. He says that you've been down on the market for years, and I said he's an eternal prices only ever go up channel. Yes, he is. I as ever, guys, I'm not here to say whether I want the market to go up or down. I want houses to be more affordable, but being down on the market just means not constantly talking it up, like all people who work in the property profession seem to think is a requirement. I have to remind agents on a regular basis, your job as an agent is not to predict house prices. Your job as an agent is to get people moved, whatever the circumstances, whatever the economy is doing, whatever the government's doing, whatever house prices are doing. Your job as an estate agent is to get people moved. People need to move home. Death, debt, divorce, birth, family, marriage, all these things, right? When people need to move house, which have nothing to do with the economy and nothing to do with the government. They need to move house. So those people don't care what you think about house prices. They just need to move. And when they ask how much is my house worth, it's only because they don't really know what else to ask. But as an agent, when someone says to you, what's my house worth? What's the market doing? Your answer should be, I don't know, and it doesn't really matter. My job is to get you moved no matter what's happening. East Anglian. Oh, this is a good question. Best question of the evening so far. East Anglian says, how do we, the seller, and the estate agent arrive at and agree the initial sensible valuation? Okay, several points here. Number one, don't call it a valuation. Call it a launch price. Okay? There is absolutely no point in the agent or you trying to predict what it's going to sell for, because you will be wrong. You will be too high, probably. Maybe you'll be too low, but you won't be right. And in any case, it makes no difference, because what you really mean when you say do a valuation is, what do we launch it at? What is the correct asking price? Okay. So first of all, stop trying to value the property. And I know this, everyone goes, but hang on a second, then how do we do what the asking price? What? Just bear with me, right? Stop trying to value a property. Even the people who are paid to do it for a living are still making an educated guess. Okay, nobody knows what a property is going to sell for, because the conditions are changing all the time from month to month. Second, if you've got a really, really good agent, then you should trust them to set the launch price, even if you're a bit uncomfortable with it. Okay, if you've got an agent that has really demonstrated their track record of how many of their listings they sell and how quickly they sell them with multiple offers, then you should have a lot of confidence in that agent and go, okay, fantastic. Well, look, as long as you get me multiple offers, I'll be satisfied that you've discovered the market for my house and that that's the market price for my house. I'll leave it to you. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a negotiation between you and the agent, right? It doesn't need to be something that's agreed, because the launch price, if it's done well, does nothing more than just get people through the door. And once they're through the door, the launch price is out the window. Because when you've got buyers bidding against each other, they're not bidding against the launch price. They're bidding against each other. And they will all, once they're confident they are actually in a situation where they're bidding against other people, they will all put their best foot forward one way or another. If you've got a bad agent, if you just cannot find a good agent, and by the way, this has happened. I've had followers who've said to me, Charlie, I have tried this. I've gone out and spoken to agents. I've talked to them about your approach, and they've all gone, what do you mean don't overvalue it? Sorry, I'm sorry. That's unkind. But I thought that, given that agents' hardest job is getting sellers to drop their price because the properties won't sell, when a seller comes to an agent and goes, look, I don't care about my launch price. I don't want you to launch too high. I want you to launch it so I get lots of buyers. So don't. And then the agent turns around and goes, no, that's not how we work. We like to price it up there and expect offers 10% below. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, it is frustrating when agents do that. But so let's just say you found a nice agent, you trust them, you think they've got integrity, you think they want to sell your house, they've been around a long time, but they're a bit bewildered by this launch price approach. Just say to them, I don't care what the launch price is, as long as you get me competing bidders. Right? Don't you, as the seller, think that you know how to price it? You are the last person in the world who should be setting the launch price of your house if you're the seller, right? You know, it's like, if you ever watch those TV cop shows, if there's a murder victim or a crime victim, and they're known to a policeman, then that officer must recuse themselves from the investigation because they can't see straight on it. It's the same with the seller and coming to the price. You, as the seller, cannot see straight without bias. You cannot see with impartiality and objectivity how best to launch your house. Because most sellers have got their eyes set on another property which they think they've got to pay asking price on, which you won't, almost always. And so you don't need to get the price that you think you need to get in order to move on, usually. Sue Benison says, how do I find an agent who does not dolly birds, who just go through the motions? There is an abundance of agents here on the south side of Glasgow, but they all look a bit vacant. Right, this is why you shouldn't sign more than a 6-week contract, okay? Because sometimes it's impossible to tell. So you protect yourself where your worst case scenario is 8 weeks. You're on for 6 weeks, give them 2 weeks notice, and after 8 weeks, you can move to another one. That is exactly why you shouldn't sign a long solvency contract. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate that. Wow. So many of you telling me I'm not patronizing. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It is very, very nice to hear. I do get a few people who level it at me. It doesn't bother me. I just wonder what makes them think that. But, good to know. Jean-Marc Bordeaux says, what about an open house day to sell your house to get footfall? Well, that's fine. And it can and is used in a good way by a lot of good agents, provided you have enough interest. Just having an open day and expecting lots of people to turn up, that won't work, right? But if you launch at the correct price with a properly prepared property, yes, then you should get 12 to 15 to maybe 20 viewings booked in the first 10 days to 2 weeks or so. And with that sort of number of buyers, make sure they're qualified. You don't just have anyone coming in. Then you should have an open house. Yeah. Excuse me 1 second. I am underprepared for this evening. All right, guys. I'd like to spend the last few minutes just talking about, and this is as much for agents' benefit as it is for sellers' benefit. just talking about the rules of Best Agents Find Your Agent service. Right now, it is working correctly and it's working well. Our problem is that estate agents are absolutely inundated with emails. And until they set up their back office account properly and register the right email address and the mobile number, and like even Rightmove has this problem. Rightmove says 40% of its inquiries that it sends to agents go unanswered. That makes me feel a little bit better about the fact that not all of our inquiries are getting responses. But we are looking to make sure that they are getting responses. That's the whole point of it. I want to explain the way we've built the Best Agent Find Your Agent service and why it's significantly different for both sellers and agents. First of all, as a seller, it's designed to give you complete privacy, number one, whereas every other website will just literally spray your contact details to every agent in the land. We don't do that. We keep your contact details private until you choose an agent of the ones who respond that you want to talk to. So your privacy, first and foremost, your privacy. Our privacy policy is actual privacy. Secondly, convenience. What we want is to help sellers avoid having to repeat their life story 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times. So when you register on Best Agent to find an agent, one of the options you're given, and I encourage all of you to do this, is you get to record a very short video, just 45 seconds, where you just introduce yourself and say, hi, we're selling because this is where we live. We're looking for an agent to do this. Look forward to hearing from you. Because those videos are immensely useful to agents and they really help. It's a bit like a dating program. It's a bit like a sort of Tinder for estate agents, right? So that video is private, it never goes public. And once you've put your details into Best Agent, filled out all the information, recorded your video if you want to, and I recommend that you do because it really, really improves the chances of getting responses from agents. Once you've done that, what Best Agent does is it then checks for the 20 geographically closest agents to your home, and it does that in real time. So it checks, it's not pulling from some old list. It goes, right, today, which are the 20 nearest agents that have at least 2 properties on the market in this postal code area. So in other words, we ignore any agents that have only got 1 property on the market in your area, for example. Okay, they must have at least 2 or more properties on the market in your area. And the nearest 20, and that's the only selection criteria at this stage, the nearest 20 agents will all receive an email telling them that a seller in their area, and we give them just the road name, but we don't give them your name, we don't give them your full address, we don't give them your phone number, you don't give them your email address, even though you have verified all of those things. And so the agents are then given the chance to respond with a video, with a reply video message. Now, this is the other thing, and there's the very specific reason for this. What we have found is that recommendation for agents to record a video tends to separate out the better agents from the worse agents, because the agents who are intrinsically dishonest with their company never like to go on camera. Never. And the big overvaluing corporates don't like to go on camera either. And we've had Foxtons, Connells, these kind of guys actually try and respond to our leads, because Best Agent is a marketplace, so we don't cherry pick who can and who can't come in. It's open to everyone. But interestingly, all of the corporate agents, when they respond to seller leads, never do a video. One exception, Spicer Hart did one once. But that video allows you as a seller, when the agents actually respond with a video, to see the person who might be coming around to your house if you invite them. So it's the only agent choosing mechanism where we ignore all their stats, we ignore all their data, because there's nothing to say that an agent's size or how long they've been there or average price is a reason to choose them. We ignore all of that, right? There's another site that does that, and it hasn't helped improve the market at all. It's just made itself another middleman. And when you use that other site, the agents tend to whack that amount extra on their fee to cover what that site charges. That site charges 10 times the price that we do for agents. So our goal is out of those 20, now what will happen is some of those agents just won't be appropriate for your kind of property, right? That's fine. We hope that you will get at least 3 decent agents respond with a video message. And you'll then get an email from Best Agent when immediately those agents respond, saying an agent has responded. Click here, and if they have recorded a video message, you'll be able to watch their video message, and if they haven't, you'll be able to schedule a call with them. And we've also built in, and it's working, a video call facility. So you can then actually book a video call with that agent, again, without revealing your contact information so that you don't get spammed to death. And that agents only get your contact information when you want them to have it. We really, really, really want to prioritize people's privacy because the rest of the industry does not respect your privacy at all. And Best Agent will be the one site which really does respect your privacy. So the idea here is to help sellers who don't know who to choose or how to choose have a better chance of finding a better agent, because generally speaking, the smaller independent agents tend to be more responsive to these leads than the corporates do. That's a good thing in my opinion. And the agents who put videos in almost always get invited round to meet the seller in their house when they put the video in. So we're trying to level the playing field, okay? Because all of those 20 agents, no one has to pay a penny to receive notification of your house coming to the market. They don't have to pay us a penny to respond or even to come and see you at your house, okay? So we've leveled the playing field from the point of view of the guys with the big marketing budgets. The big corporates have this huge marketing budgets and they just carpet bomb their local market with marketing that smaller agents can't compete with. And so the smaller agents have less visibility, even though their service might be better, okay? So we're trying to make it easier. We want to also, for example, search engine optimization. When you go search on Google for your nearest agents, that is gamed, okay? The agents spending the most on SEO always come first. And that's why over 50% of sellers end up choosing the 10% largest agents, which is not, there's no reason. They are not that much better. They don't deserve 10 times more business than the other agents, but they're getting it. That's why you get some agents who've got huge inventories, hundreds of properties on the market, but they're selling slower, they're taking longer, they're selling fewer, but sellers don't see that. So I'm trying to de-game it. I'm trying to basically change the rules of the game that say any agent can respond to a seller's request, but you all do it on the same terms. And if you do it with a video, you're more likely to get chosen. And you don't pay anything unless you're instructed. That's it. It's fair. It's a level playing field. That's the idea there. So I'm going to be embarking on, Best Agent are going to be embarking on quite a major campaign to get more agents who are the right kind of agents who don't want to sign you up to long solid agency contracts. And if the agents have got a Best Agent badge, they will get an automatic higher preference than agents who don't have that badge. Best agents with that badge will be easier for sellers to find. Now, that badge doesn't guarantee any results. We don't know what those agents are like. All it tells you is they're not going to handcuff you in for a long time. They've got the confidence to only ask for 6 weeks and still be willing to take your business. Do we have any comments on this? Change 2023 says, I think you're underestimating the public's, what did you say? Reluctance to do a video or essay explaining personal circumstances. Well, I can tell you actually that most of the sellers doing it, we've got countless videos. So this is, we're actually getting real enthusiasm from sellers on this, right? These are all videos recorded by sellers, right? Loads and loads and loads. So I can promise you that some sellers are very happy. And by the way, you don't have to have the camera on. You could just put something over your camera like that, right? And then just record audio. So there are some people who do that. So they switch their camera off and they just an audio message comes through. And that's not quite as good, but it's still welcome. But that being able to hear the seller's voice or see the seller on camera really, really helps accelerate a good match between the seller and an agent. Okay, any last minute questions? Jean-Marc says, I think my last agent sprayed my details in the bushes. Yeah, they really do. Just reading through your comments here. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you for listening. Okay, here's a good question. Wicked Witch of the West says, Charlie, why are most sellers still stuck in 2019? I'm seeing some absolute wreck properties that are listed at £20,000 overpriced. Years of media manipulation, unconscious bias about the value of their home, endless week in, week out newspaper stories saying record price this, record price that, record price the other, and a desire to want to get as much money as they can for the house so they can afford a better one when they move on. That's why. And there are still so many sellers who are going to get such a rude awakening. And by the way, I'm not cheering this. Some people think that I'm like, yay, prices are falling. No, when it comes to price, the market sets the price. The market sets the price. The government has stopped propping up new builds with Help to Buy. Let's hope that stays the same. There's no more QE happening at the moment. Interest rates are not too low. So lending levels have reduced. And that's one of the things that's keeping house prices from going back up. I've always said that given given a magic wand, I would just make house prices flatline until wages catch up, so that houses become more like 3 or 4 times salary rather than 7 or 8 times median salary. Right, guys. Thank you for listening. If you are an agent, please make sure you're following the Best Agent social media channels. Okay, just search Best Agent on any social media channel, you'll find it there. YouTube, preferably, also LinkedIn. And make sure you've got your back office account open. Just go to bestagent.co.uk for an agent and make sure your back office account is open. Glenn W says, Charlie, how can you check out the performance of the small estate agents when creating your shortlist? It's extremely difficult to check out the performance. And I mean, all you can do, and what I tend to do to assess an agent, is I go to Rightmove, and you will be able to do this on Best Agent in due course. I'm going to just show you. I want to show you what we're up against here. We're coming out here with a national property site. Even more property on it than Rightmove has. Yes, a lot of it's out of date, but we'll get on top of that. With a team, a tiny fraction of the size of Rightmove's. It's an astonishing piece of technology. It's very big, but it's got, it's got a lot of ironing out to do. So here is a property that I put up on X this morning because it was it's a £10 million price drop. Yes, that's right. You heard correctly. A £10 million price drop. And this is Best Agent. And I've just logged it. So when you have a mover profile, your mover profile is free. And when you sign it in, it will then show you price reductions, which Rightmove doesn't do. Zoopla does, Rightmove doesn't. And if they've changed agents, it'll show that as well. Okay. So you can see which agent is listed with, when they listed it, and what price reductions happened. So that one's had a £10 million price drop. Okay. You can full screen it. You can go through all the photographs and the floor plan and the map and all that kind of stuff. But when you've got combining sales and lettings together, well over 1 million live properties, changing on a daily basis. The price is changing, addresses changing, new ones coming on, old ones going off, old ones coming back on. It's an enormous amount to handle. And this is why I'm doing this fundraising. I'll have a bigger team. It'll be no problem to handle it. We've come this far on a tiny shoestring budget. The next part should be good fun. All right. But we've got a lot, there's a lot to do, but the fundamentals are working. It's not as good as we'd like it on the property search side yet. There's a lot of things we can do to make it better on the property search side. But it does change the game. That's the point. It does change the game. And what it does is it takes away all of the unfair advantage that the bigger agents have. It levels the playing field. No agent, one of the golden rules I set from the beginning is that no agent is allowed to buy an advantage. Because that's what's happening now, and that's why the market is so distorted. I will show you something else that you might be interested in. Right? The back office data that we have on the market that shows you the spread of property listings with different agents. And you'll see what I mean. Hang on a second. Maybe not. Maybe the internet live streaming gods and gremlins aren't going to let this happen. Here we go. Maybe. I can't believe any of you still watching. Thank you so much for your patience. Here we go. Let me just get this up. Someone give me a random postcode, just a postcode area. Come on, live, so that you know this is real. While we're waiting for that, Zed Humpy says, are there any signs that the Mexican standoff between sellers and buyers and asking prices will continue or end? This is exactly why we have to end sole agency contracts. That's one of the things that will do. And yes, there are signs, actually. I'll show you the signs on Best Agent's house price index page. Okay. By the way, I'm about to remove all the pictures of me, and there's no point in me being on that website. I thought to begin with that maybe it was a good idea to have me there to make it look like it was a more personal site and there's a bit of accountability, but I don't think people care. So yeah, here we are. So what you're seeing here, so the top line price is sale agreed prices. The second line is sold for sale prices. So £325,000 for sale, £300,000 sold. And what that tells us, that was a year ago, that was £340,000. It was a £40,000 gap, right? So that gap is narrowing nationally. This is England, right? And this is everything that's on the market in England. Okay. So what's that? 150,000 odd properties total. Okay. And the median asking price between for sale and under offer is narrowing. It's narrowed by 15,000. All right. So yeah. And all of this data, by the way, we're going to be able to do so much press with this data when I got the team to be able to actually help me produce it. But at the moment we're spread too thin. Do we have any postcodes? All right, let's try. Who got first? Who got first? G43. I haven't got Glasgow. I haven't got Scotland. Sorry, Sue. Kyle Webb, PE29. One moment. PE29. Where is that? Peterborough? Right, Huntingdon. Yeah, okay, there we go. So this is Best Agent data. And what we've got here in PE29 is that 729 properties. Harvey Robinson Huntingdon is number one in market share of unsold properties out of 62 agents listing properties in that postcode. And they have nearly a quarter of the whole market. Now, I know nothing about Harvey Robinson. They might be a very good agent. They might not. They might be an overvaluing corporate. I don't know. Okay. So they've got 174 of the 729 listings. Now, if we go down here, what you'll see is what was the total number of listings? 729. I'm going to screw some back of the fag packet maths here. 730 properties, 62 agents. Was it? Yeah. So the top 6 agents, which is 10% of the agents, have got 73, 136, 216, 222, 357, 400, 520. Yeah. So the top 10% have got 5, if I'm right, over 500 properties out of 729, right? Do you see what I mean? Does that make sense, right? There is this disproportionate distribution of property sale with a small number of agents. So Harvey Robinson, number 1, Peter Lane and Partners, number 2, Giggs and McGrath. I know Matt Giggs. He's good. So occasionally there are agents who are up there because they deserve to be up there. Now I don't know if that's if Harvey Robinson is. I'm curious now. Is Harvey Robinson a corporate? They've got a lot of branches going, but yeah. So you get this column here is the number of instructions they've got, and there's this long tail of agents with just 2 or 3 properties in that postcode. Okay, and that is a very uneven distribution. If that was a graph, that would be the first 10% of the graph would have like this big block, and then there'd be this long tail down of all little ones. It's not a logical distribution of property stock, and this is because those bigger agents. Okay, Harvey Robinson is a multi-award winning one, actually, by the looks of things. Are they part of? No, they would appear to be just a good. They've got 4 branches, so they actually look like they might deserve to be number 1. Good for them if that's the case. Good for them. Right, I'm getting into the weeds here, so I'm going to call it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please go to bestagent.co.uk if you're a mover and just register as a mover, okay? And register as a mover where you're looking to move, because when the time comes for us to start promoting this no long sole agency contracts campaign, I'd like as many as possible of you to be able to help. It'd be really cool. All right. Same with agents. Go to bestagent.co.uk. Let me do another one of these postcodes. DY10. Let's have a look at that quickly. Hang on a second. DY10. Kidderminster. Connells. Here we are. This is a better one. So there we've got Connells Kidderminster is number 1 out of 67 agents listing 747 properties in DY10. All right. And so Connells has got 21% of the market there. Now, I have to give the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes you have a very good branch manager at a Connells branch, and they are actually very good. Sometimes, occasionally. Generally speaking, they overvalue, they lock you into a very long contract. Okay. Connells, Shipways, Dixons. So again, out of how many agents was it? 67 agents. So top 7 agents have got 158, 262, 271, 383, 449, 479, 550, basically 554 properties. 520. So yeah, again, the top 10% of agents listing properties in DY10 has got well over 50% of the market, like 2/3 of the market. Absolutely not the right distribution that there should be, unless those top agents are the ones giving the best sales performance. What happens is, the reason this happens is those agents are signing sellers up to long handcuff contracts and just building up their inventory of stuff and trying to corner the market. It's bad. It's bad news. I really have to go. I really appreciate all of you. Tin Alien says, Tin Alien? I can't remember, you did tell me before. Not just agents that overvalue, new build developers are perhaps even worse. Yes, but remember that new build developers are like car retailers. They are selling houses as a business and they're trying to get tip-top price. But yeah, you're right. Could I set up a petition to write to the housing minister and long-term energy contracts? Yeah, I have thought about that. I mean, I just don't have much faith in the government ever actually pulling these things off. But yeah, if we get enough momentum behind the campaign. Oh, cool. Kyle Webb says, I used Harvey Robinson on 2 occasions. Great estate agent, in my opinion. Fantastic. Good to know. There you are, guys. If you're in that part of the world, Harvey Robinson, good agent. Yes, Jean-Marc, Connells have brought other smaller independent estate agents and still keeping their old names to make it look like they're little independents. That is very true. Right. So please, everyone, I'm just going to change the logo up there for a second. Best Agent. Go to bestagent.co.uk. Register as a mover, register as an agent. Stand by for further instructions if you want to help out. Thanks, guys. Have a great one. See you